Annenberg Media.
We all know that we will die one day, but the day may come when a doctor tells us that we are terminally ill and will die soon. In this crisis, how do we behave? How do we make routine decisions? How do we approach those we love when they now regard us as someone who is dying? While time and the world are slipping away, we are defined more than ever by the limits of our body.
I had breast cancer earlier in the year. And I had gone back for my checkup and he said everything was fine. And this hadn't been that long ago, it was only in September. And we're talking about December now here. So I couldn't imagine that cancer would develop that fast.
The doctor approached my husband. I was in the hospital. She said, I think she had 3 months to live. And when my husband told me, were two different feelings then. One was a little bit of relief because I was having so much pain and I was so weak that I thought maybe it's time to let it go.
I have lived beyond the point that I want to live. I don't at this point in time foresee that any day would be worth the pain and suffering that I go through. There is no lure for me to think that emotionally I will have better days.
All three of these women receive palliative care at home for terminal illness. This treatment relieves the symptoms, especially pain. Family and friends are involved in the care, and the patient is helped with emotional and spiritual as well as practical matters.
How have you been feeling?
When the hope of being cured has become remote, palliative care can bring a sense of healing that gives the dying some control over how they live and how they die.
If I look at you and someone tells me, that person out there you're talking to is dying, is that going to affect how I see you, what I think about you, how I think about what I might say and how I might say it? Of course it is. If you hear the same thing about me, that would affect it. How about if you think one of your friends might be dying, but you don't know for sure, how's that going to affect how you talk to them tonight, or your colleagues at work? It's a very meaningful distinction. It's a consequential distinction, whether it should be or not, whether this person is a person who's going to continue with us or a person who is dying.
For 5 years, Graciela Margulis has suffered from a cancer that has metastasized throughout her body and become steadily worse.
When I got sick, I changed everything. I think the first thing I did is to decide to do only the things I felt right for me and not do anything I don't want to do. But I have to say something. It's like, not everybody is as lucky as I am. Like, I have a big support. It's not only the doctors, it's my husband, my kids, and my friends. I decide the type of life I wanted to live, the people I want to be with, and to make sure I feel happy as much as I can. And it's not like I don't have my moments and my fears, but I try to avoid anything that bring me sadness or hard feelings. And it went through different stages, like got a point when they told me I have only 3 months to live, that I didn't even want to read the newspaper. I couldn't even take the bad news.
Graciela and her husband Alejandro have been married for 22 years and have 2 sons.
I don't think I have control over the situation. I can control, okay, when I say situation, is the illness. The only thing I control is what is around Graciela, you know, to do things that won't bother to her, that she will feel safe, that she won't have any kind of problems. In that sense, I want to control the situation, that things will happen around Graciela without bothering her, that nothing will bother her. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but I don't want her to have worries.
They all say it's a lot to do with my positive way of thinking and my fight that keep me alive. Even the doctors say that, you know, like she said, listen, we don't know. We know the illness is there. I know I don't have a long time, but I know now it wasn't only 3 months. And that's important to me, because to me, every morning when I wake up and I'm breathing and I'm here and I have another day to enjoy with my kids, my husband, and my family, my friends, I'm very lucky. And I think in life you have to see, you can see a glass half full or half empty. And it's up to you how you decide to live those days or time, whatever you have.
I think that our relationship now is, it's funny to say, but it's much closer than before. I think that we feel much closer now because our time is limited. But we are very close in a way, you know. I don't think that we change a lot, but I believe I listen to her much more than before. I think we share more things now that before for me was very hard to share. And I think I open up a little bit more now.
Sheila Walker, a social worker and palliative care coordinator, counsels Graciela and Alejandro on practical and personal matters.
I mean, letting go is very, very difficult. I don't want to be Pollyannish about this. You know, it's very sad, and people have to, you know, leave their life with the knowledge that they're leaving their children, for example, and this is extremely painful.
Hi, Graciela. How are you today?
How you doing?
How are you? Where's the dog?
Oh, they're upstairs. They will come now. Don't worry.
You know, they're leaving their relationships with their, you know, loved ones behind. They're leaving life that they really love. So there's a lot of pain involved, you know. But there is the other side that, you know, they're often transformed by the pain to appreciate life in a different way. Not everybody is. You know, some people die very sad and they don't go gently into this good night. What about between the two of you, in terms of your relationship? What's changed?
Everything changed.
Everything.
Everything changed. No, everything changed in a sense. Like we make, I mean it changed because it means like we try as much as we can to be together.
Oh yeah, then of course. I spend a lot of time at home.
And we don't waste any time, and we don't fight because we try to make it the better every moment for us.
Yeah.
And it's very precious for us, the time we have together.
No, there's no sense to fight.
Yeah.
I always lose anyway.
Well, we know what you're dealing with. Yeah, we know who you're dealing with. The boss.
The concept of to have like a line that when your life will finish. If I needed to go to the dentist, I will think, do I need to go? No, I have 3 months to live. Why should I go to the dentist, yeah? Or all the decisions, like should I make reservation for this, or should I buy clothes? What for? And I was like that in the beginning. And my husband got very upset with me at one point. He said, I'm gonna go and buy you clothes, you know? And that changed me, that made me realize, like, they said 3 months, but nobody knows. And I tried to change that. Instead to see this wall in 3 months, I figure it's a day-by-day thing instead of 3 months. So I'm here today, I enjoy it, and I don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow.
When hinges swing full wide, I will see light so brilliant, so immortal, streaming from each inch of time-space. You'll illume my spirit's passing from these shores to where God's presence fills all needs and wants and torments. So I welcome your strange presence as I wait for time evermore.
Your poems actually do paint such a picture.
That's what
I enjoyed reading them.
Ardella Van Schoik chose hospice care at home for terminal cancer when she refused to allow doctors to continue with chemotherapy.
I had no desire to live the rest of my days out, whether they're short or long, in agony. That is not living to me. When you are regurgitating every time you turn around and you're in pain, that's not living. If you're existing, all right, you're existing, but it's not living. Well, how can you have any quality of life? How can you relate to people when you're in that situation?
She's ready. She's often wondered why it hasn't come yet. When we talk at length, sometimes, maybe there's something else you have to do. Maybe there's some other problem you have to deal with before the end can come. And then we try to work through maybe finding out what the problem might be, or adjustment you need to make in order to be ready for the end, which she is definitely ready, just waiting.
The worst thing right now is being in bed permanently and not having strength in my arms or legs. As long as I could get up and go to the bathroom, sit in a wheelchair, maybe put a puzzle together or something like that, you feel you have a certain amount of freedom. When those things are gone, it's a little tough to look at it that way.
Take a deep breath for me.
Joanne comes in a minimum 3 times a week. She takes the vital signs, your blood pressure, your temperature, checks the heart, that type of thing. And checks my medicines, makes sure that I have enough, orders them if I don't have enough for them. Checks my food, see what I'm eating, how I'm eating.
Blood pressure's running about the same it's been running.
You're facing your last journey, really. And although I don't fear it at all, in fact, I welcome at this point, the point of leaving and going on to a new adventure, because this is what I consider it.
Stevie Sayers ran her own business until cervical cancer began to dominate her life. 5 years ago, she was successfully treated, but then the cancer returned with a fatal diagnosis.
I can't walk very far. I couldn't walk from here to the corner. I don't have the energy to get there. And I guess I never know what will unfold either. That's scary too, because I've had physical crises that required immediate hospitalization and emergency hospitalization. So every day when I wake up, I don't know if that's another day that I'm going to be hospitalized again. And I don't know how the disease is unfolding inside me. It's a progressive disease. And given that I only have maybe weeks to months to live right now, I can only imagine what stage it's at internally. And to tell you the truth, I don't really want to know.
Stevie's husband, Bruce Sutton, has been with her throughout this time.
There's been a constant in Stevie's condition, and that's been pain. And so when you see somebody in constant pain, whether or not it's to a lesser or more degree, it's still there. You don't tend to get immune to it. You tend to become overly sensitive to it.
I fear for him. I really do. I guess neither of us envisioned that I wouldn't be there, and it's a shock to both of us that I won't. And my parents, I fear for them as well, because I wanted to be the person helping them die, and it's the other way around.
Stevie has written a manual for those who offer care to the dying. Her own group of 32 caregivers was drawn from a large circle of loyal friends.
Having to phone everyone I knew and tell them the same sad story, listen to their tears, and comfort them, let them comfort me. And ever since that time, all of my relationships have been extremely different from before. Because never again will our words be happy and carefree.
I have the dubious luxury of expecting to go to bed at night if I get up in the morning. I don't know about that for Stevie. We take everything for granted. I think when you're living with somebody who's terminally ill, you don't take anything. You don't take anything for granted. I think you seize the moment more.
Today, a person with a potentially fatal illness is not necessarily seen as being terminal, and for good reason. People may carry around with them an illness that probably will take their life eventually, unless they're hit by a meteor or something. But that doesn't mean the person is dying. The person has this condition that cannot be stopped, but the person may have months or years to live, to enjoy life, to contribute to society, all these things. It doesn't make any sense to speak about this person as being terminally ill or dying. The person is active. Yet, we have somehow cut through all of this to recognize the situation in which it's obvious things have changed.
And it's up to you how you decide to live those days or time, whatever you have. And cancer, even though some people get very upset when I say, have a positive side, at least for me, was to teach me how to live, to appreciate life and to live it at the fullest every day. And not to die when they tell you you're dying. To keep living. Whatever happens is happening. Yeah, it's nothing you have control. I don't have any control about the cancer, but I do have control about my life.
A good death will mean a death without pain. I think that will be the ideal death. I don't find another way to die. You know, I don't want her to die suffering. You know, the only way I want her to die is as I said, without pain.
And I hope that I can pass it to my kids, the way they will see life, like how they're gonna face problems, and how they're gonna react as human beings, about their kindness and care after see my suffering, their suffering, and how these things affect all our life.
Graciela Margulis died on February the 24th, 1998, at the age of 44. For 6 months, Striving to find peace of mind and relief from pain, Stevie applied herself to a combination of counseling, meditation, pain control exercises, and spiritual tasks. Her efforts paid off with the transformation. She now walks with greater ease and enjoys the simple pleasure of going out for coffee.
People have to know that no matter how dire your body gets, there always is that chance that you'll just go, hey, there's more life. And for some reason, you're able to overcome it. Even though you can't understand it and it's not really in your control, something just sort of happens and you live again. That's a very enlightening discovery that the human body can be very, very down and out and still ripple life out of it and in fact get some sort of health.
She's taught me how to be more kind. I always laughed because I've always said this almost since the day I met Stevie, that she's an old soul. And that it would appear in our relationship that I had more to learn. And perhaps sometimes I think that's why she came into my life, was, so I would learn certain things. Her life with me has been a gift.
Stevie Sayers died on the 1st of April, 1998, at the age of 43.
All kinds of memories. Memories of my kids. Memories when I was growing up. The people that helped make me who I am, really. I'm not just me. I'm a lot of people and a lot of things and a lot of times. We all are, of course, but I think we forget this at times. I think if we really use memories the way memory should be used, and this is personal opinion, of course, is that you learn from them. You look at them and you see what you could have done better or where our relationship probably could have been mended. My husband and I spoke about it often before he went. And I think when he died, there was such a beatific look on his face. And he looked as young as when I first knew him. How anyone can even doubt that there's something better waiting for us on the other side, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. My hope for Adela would be that she would have a very peaceful death and just be comfortable right up until the very end.
I've lived 69 years. I've had 5 children. I've lived a full life. I'm ready to go. So I wasn't angry. And sorrow? Nah. Nah, there's too much wrong in this world to be sorry.
3 days later, on November the 18th, 1997, Ardella Van Schoik died at the age of 69.
Annenberg Media. For information about this and other Annenberg Media programs, call 1-800-LEARNER and visit us at www.learner.org.